Hello, and thank you so much for tuning in to the She Can Ball podcast. Our guest today is a D1 athlete from the UCLA women's basketball team, Natalie Chou. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. So let's talk about your journey. So where did you grow up and how did you get into basketball in the first place?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Plano, Texas. It's a suburb really close to Dallas. And I was introduced to basketball around the age of around 5.
Okay.
My mother was actually my basketball coach. She still is my basketball coach. She's a skills basketball coach. So she's introduced me to the game. And yeah, that's how I first started.
And so when did you start getting more serious about basketball?
Yeah, so in the beginning, it was just for fun. It was like I was playing in rec leagues and stuff.
Yeah.
But around middle school, I started to take it pretty seriously. I realized that I could probably, if I worked hard enough, I could play college basketball and get a scholarship. So around middle school, I started to play in AAU basketball, and I had an amazing coach. He's Jason Terry. You might know him from the Dallas Mavericks, but
Yeah, cool. And so, what do you think was kind of that switch in middle school that really made you enjoy basketball more than just playing in rec league and taking it more seriously?
yeah, so when I started playing in AAU tournaments and just traveling around the country, I realized that my skill level and my competition level wasn't far off from like the top. So I realized that I could really have a great chance in basketball.
Hmm. And so, throughout your childhood, how did basketball impact your life?
Oh man, it's such a huge impact. I mean, I My closest friends are all from basketball. All introduced from basketball. I've learned so much. It's really a big part of my life. I mean, you learn like teamwork, dedication, focus, all that kind of stuff. And also for
Mm.
me, like I'm a huge traveler and I'm a big adventure person. So
Yeah.
basketball has brought me to like Europe, to China.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, really grateful.
And so, you talked about your mom kind of introducing you to basketball. So, tell us a little bit more about her role in making you the player you are today.
Yeah, so I'm very lucky to have my mother be my skills coach as well. So her and I, since I was young, we've just been practicing on everything like ball handling, our moves, footwork, shooting form, and we still do that today, especially during this quarantine. But almost everything that I know about basketball is from my mom.
Wow, that's really cool, and I love how you've been able to, kind of bond. Would you say that you've kind of been able to bond with your mother through basketball?
Oh, absolutely. We love watching games together. We talk about basketball like 24/7, so definitely.
That's amazing. And so what other challenges have you faced being an Asian American basketball player?
Yeah. So well, there's just stereotypes of Asian
Yeah.
Americans in America. Growing up, I've had to face a couple of those stereotypes, and now I'm like 22, and I'm just really used to that. But growing up, it was pretty hard. When I started AAU, I realized that I was like the only Asian girl out there that was playing at that level,
Mhm.
and I soon realized that maybe my journey wasn't the same and didn't look the same as my friends and as my teammates. And yeah, definitely knew that I was kind of different. I looked different on the court, but that honestly fueled me a lot, just to help represent my community the best that I
Yeah,
could.
definitely. And
Yeah.
I love, watching you play and stuff because you're representing and you're a big role model for the Asian American basketball community. And so what advice do you have for other young Asian American basketball players?
Yeah. So just dream big. Like when I was younger, even though I didn't see anyone who looked like me, like playing in college or in the WNBA,
Mhm.
I knew that I could do it. If I worked hard enough, I could definitely break through those stereotypes and those glass ceilings. So just dream big, don't be scared, and pursue it with everything that you have. You have to be very dedicated if you want to be successful in anything. So just hard work and dedication.
I like that. And so, how was your transition from high school going into college?
Yeah. So for me, it was a struggle. I'm not gonna lie. um, so in high school, I mean, you're just like on cloud nine when you get out of high school. For me, just I had played USA basketball. I had got McDonald's All-American. I was a Jordan Brand Classic All-American. So as a
Wow.
senior in high school, I was really like on cloud nine, thinking that I had the
Yeah.
world in my hands and that college was just gonna be another thing. But once I got to college, it was just a huge just it's a huge change, huge transition, and I struggled a lot mentally, physically. I struggled, but yeah.
Mhm. And so how was that recruiting process from high school? Because I know you went from high school to Baylor, right? And so
Yes.
how was that recruiting process to going to Baylor, one of the top women's basketball, schools in the nation?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, for me, I'm kind of an introvert, so once the recruiting started, and all of these people were calling me, all these coaches were calling me. I was one of those players who never picked up. I was really hard to get in contact with. People ended up having to call my mom and having to call my coaches because I just wasn't too big on like speaking all the time. But
Mm,
I learned so much. My advice to people who are players who are getting recruited is just to take their time and really
mhm.
find a great match, both on the court and off the court, and really having that connection with the coaching staff and also your future teammates. Just having a good connection
Yeah.
because you'll be spending a lot of time together.
Yeah, that's true. And so I
Yeah.
know that being a student athlete can be extremely difficult, and you talked about that. So walk me through a day in your life. Like, if we were not in quarantine, what would a day in your life look like?
Yeah. So I will give you maybe October
Okay.
is when that whole month is when like full on practice
Mhm.
begins. So if at UCLA we practice in the mornings. It's different for every program,
Mhm.
but at UCLA we practice in the morning. So I would probably taping and treatment probably starts around 7 a.m. And so I get to the facility and I get my smoothie and my bagel, and then I go get treatment. I get my ankles taped, and then around maybe 8, we all have weights either before or after practice. But at UCLA, the majority of us lifts weights before, and then after weights, which is about 45, 50 minutes, we all go to film and watch film of the practice before or scout for our upcoming games.
Mhm.
And that's like, it depends on the day, but it might be 15 to 30 minutes.
Okay.
And then we would be on the court for a while. um, in October, it could go to 4 hours, I think, max.
Oh my
But then
gosh.
yeah, after practice, we like shower, and then at UCLA, we go to class after practice. So that's
My
gonna
god.
take up my whole afternoon. And then if you have tutoring, not everyone has to go to tutoring. Since I'm a little bit older now, I don't have to go to tutoring, but tutoring usually happens at night. So yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's
Mhm.
crazy.
Yeah, but you get so used to it. So
Yeah, especially, like, after weights and playing practice. Yeah.
yeah, that was very different for me, because in high school, I never really lifted
Yeah.
ever, but so when I got to college, I was like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah. And so in high school, like, you're playing for Team USA and you're getting all these awards. Like, how did that impact you? And like, how did you feel then? Because that's crazy, especially just being an Asian American athlete and just kind of proving all those stereotypes wrong.
Yeah, I was just really proud of myself. I remember, like, after hearing my name, seeing my name coming on the screen for McDonald's All-American, my mom and I, we just, looked at each other, we just started crying
Yeah.
because it was that McDonald's All-American has been such a huge dream of mine and a huge goal, and finally being able to say that I'm an All-American was just amazing and I just felt so proud. So that was really overwhelming feelings.
Yeah.
But also it was kind of, I want to say lonely, but I soon learned that I was probably the first or one of the only Asians to ever be an All-American or
Mhm.
be on the UCA basketball team. I mean,
Yeah.
USA basketball team. So, I mean, it was kind of just realizing that no one that looked like me, no one that came from the culture or background that I've come from, never really got to um, go on this path that I'm going on. I mean, I'm yeah, living the path. Yeah. So it was kind of lonely, but it also that really fueled me to really be the best that I could, and like I said, just represent my people well.
Yeah. And so how do you cultivate a mindset to achieve these amazing accomplishments?
Yeah, well, I have amazing people surrounding me.
Mhm.
Like I said, my mother, she really pushes me and she is my I want to make her proud in everything that I do. So definitely my mom and also my old coach Jason Terry. He and I still have a great relationship, and he just mentors me and tells me what his experiences is like. But really just surrounding myself with people that push me and knowing that not of course I'm gonna have dips when I wake up and I don't want to work out, but
Yeah.
those are all normal. But just definitely having people surrounding me that push me and want the best for me.
Yeah. And so you recently transferred to UCLA from Baylor. So how was that transition?
Man, I was stressful. Yeah, so I was at Baylor for my freshman and sophomore season, and then I transferred after that sophomore season to UCLA. I mean, it was a tough situation. I mean, change is difficult for everyone, and it
Yeah.
was extremely difficult for me, but I knew that for my own well being, mentally and physically, I needed to be somewhere else. And so UCLA was definitely one of the schools that I was thinking about because the first time around, when I was getting recruited the first time around in high school,
Mhm.
I had a great relationship with Coach Corey and Coach Shannon, Coach Corey Close is the head coach at UCLA, and Coach Shannon LaBeouf is an assistant coach. But I just had a great relationship with them the first time around, and just the way that our relationship grew and just the people that they were on and off the court really drew me to that program.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, going into a program where you feel like you have trust in your coaches is so, so important.
Mhm.
And so after UCLA, like what's your plan after college basketball? What do you want to do?
Yeah, so I would love to play professionally. That's my goal, either in the WNBA or overseas, because I love traveling and I love experiencing new cultures. So
Mhm.
definitely overseas or something like that. But after my playing career, I would just love to stay in the game. It's just something that I've known since I was 5. So I would love to coach at the college level and just really stay in the game. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. I think, like, even I'm kind of in that dilemma. Like, I really, really like basketball right now, but I don't know if this is something I'm gonna love for the rest of my life. And so, like, whether
Mhm.
that's, like, I don't know if I want to play professionally, right, in the WNBA, but I know that whatever I do, I want to keep at least like a part of my life in basketball, and like whether that's coaching or like playing in the rec league, but just doing something. And
Yeah.
that's one thing that I really been trying to like do with this podcast is for other like women basketball players. I feel like if you took 10 people, like just you were walking down the street and took 10 males, like all of them have at least, I bet, played basketball once and like just enjoyed and had a fun time. I feel like it wouldn't be the same with females.
No, not at all.
Just because you're a woman doesn't mean that you can't enjoy the game of basketball.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And you'll have a lot of time. You're only 14, you'll have a lot of time to figure
Yeah.
out you could, at this rate with your podcast, you could definitely go into commentary and be on ESPN. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to, like, do something because like, with quarantine and stuff, so I thought this would be something fun, and I really enjoyed it, and I've learned so much from amazing people just like you, so thank you
That's
again.
amazing. Oh, of course. Thank you for having me.
And so, like, I know especially during this quarantine, it's been hard to, like, work out with limited gym access, so how have you been working on your game during quarantine right now?
Yeah, so in the beginning of quarantine, I'm just really lucky to have my mom, who is also my skills coach, because she will keep me accountable. She
Mhm.
will help me work out. So we have been working out like in a gym since the beginning of quarantine,
That's good.
just working on skills and just fine tuning a lot of like my footwork and my shooting form. And also, our strength and conditioning coach at UCLA, Coach Dave, has sent us a lot of workouts for us to do
Okay.
every single day. So, yeah.
And so is there something, like, specific that you're trying to, like, work on during quarantine?
Yes, definitely. So, I am trying to work on being more versatile. I think that the women's game and the men's game is just going towards that kind of playing style where everyone can shoot, everyone can do everything.
Yeah.
So I'm just really working on being more versatile. I'm naturally like a guard, so right now I'm working on like posting up if a smaller guard is defending me. So stuff like that.
Yeah, and, like, you've got the height, and I think that's awesome, and that's the one thing I don't like about with youth basketball because I was, like a taller person when I was younger, so they would always put you down at the post, but I think that learning those guard skills is
Mm.
so, so important, especially when you're younger. Because what if you stay that height, right? And then you go into high school and you're playing guard, but you've played post your whole life, so
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
and so, did your season like, whenever you heard, like, "Oh, coronavirus and, like, everything was shutting down," did your season get cut at UCLA?
Yes, it did. So we had just come back from the Pac-12 tournament in Las Vegas, and then we were getting ready for the NCAA March Madness tournament.
Oh
Um,
gosh.
but yeah, that's when we heard that the season was over. So yeah, definitely it was really sad to hear that a whole season, a whole year of what we've been working for got stripped away from us. But
Yeah.
yeah. We understand though, we get it, it's the
Yeah.
coronavirus, yeah.
Yeah. It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
And so you're playing at such a high level and, like, even going to March Madness and playing at these high levels, like, do you ever get nervous in games? And how do you deal with that?
Absolutely. I always get nervous, especially yeah, I get nervous, but I'm just so used to being nervous that I'm just used to it, I can play through it now. I've, like, perfected my, pregame, like, routine.
Tell us more about your pregame routine.
Yeah, so, if it was, like, an evening game, we would have shoot-arounds a couple of hours, like, maybe 4 hours before,
Okay.
and then we would have, pre-game fuel, like food after, but then after that, I usually go to, or, like, go on my phone and I listen to the Bible or listen to, like, a Bible study, and
Oh,
then
okay.
I'd probably take a nap to just calm down, and because one of my talents is I can sleep anytime, anywhere, so I'd
Great.
probably take a nap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people can just, like, watch TV and kinda turn their brain off. I can't do that. So, like, for me, turning my brain off is closing my eyes and just, like, sitting there. So even I don't always get to fall asleep, but I'll just sit there and lay
Mm.
down. So I feel you on that.
Yes. Yeah, definitely, and, like, it's just so different for everyone. A lot of my teammates, like, they get pumped and ready for games by, like, pumping up the music and just getting, like, energetic, and that's totally great because it works so great for them, but for me personally, I, like, take a nap and I listen to just really soothing sounds.
Yeah. So do you know what your season at UCLA is gonna look like?
We have no idea right now.
Okay.
As of right now, we for UCLA, women's basketball, we don't really know when we're coming back, or anything like that. So, but we're all still training and working out like we will have a season. So and having that mindset that we will come back, playing. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a great mindset to have, especially, because we're going through unprecedented times. So that's great. And so, for listeners that have never seen you play, how would you describe your game?
Oh, yeah. I would say I'm a pretty, huh, like I said, I'm working on being more versatile. I'm a guard. I'm a shooting guard, so I'm either a 2-3 on the court. I'm a shooter.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a shooter, a 3-point shooter. I have a pull-up game that's pretty consistent, and I will post up small guards. And on a defensive end, I'm not the quickest one on the court at all, or the most athletic. I really rely on anticipation and just
Hmm.
yeah, anticipation and timing on the defensive end. So I'll get you some steals on the defensive end.
Okay, so thank you so much for being on. I really enjoyed our conversation today.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you for having me. You're awesome. I'm just so impressed.
No, I love like watching you play and stuff. It's amazing, and what you're doing for our community is absolutely awesome. So I
Thank
love that, especially
you.
on the women's basketball side. Lots of respect to you. Whenever you like responded, I got so excited. I was like, oh my god.
Of course. Yeah. If you need anything else, just reach out. I think you're amazing. So thank you.
My pleasure. Have a good one.
Thank you. You too.